Hafade, Malik, Naman Maktuhamzu. The Committee on Culture and Justice is now called to order. Today is Wednesday, December 13, 2017. The time is 9:09 a.m. Notices for this informational briefing were disseminated via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets on December 5 and again on December 11, 2017. The notice was also published in the Guam Daily Post on December 5, 2017. Today, we will receive a status update on the progress of the Commission Ifinotamores and Ifinanagwin y Historia de Nilinatla Tautotano in regards to its duties pursuant to 5 GCA 88104 and 88105, specifically the allocation of the FY18 appropriation, its rules of conduct and organizational structure, as it's just a brand new commission, and an update on the orthography, and an update on the Chamorro Dictionary. I'd like to thank my colleagues for attending this morning's hearing, Speaker Cruz, Senator Frank Uggan, and Senator Mary Torres Izus Masi. This commission is comprised of an amazing team of visionaries and leaders in the Chamorro language, education, history, and culture. I know that they have worked for hours at a time every week, and they take their roles and responsibilities very seriously. And it's one of the reasons why I asked for this informational briefing, because I'm very proud of that, and I want you to share that with the public and all my colleagues. And I know that you've done very much with very little to date. So if we could just put, so I think also that we're very fortunate, the people of Guam, we're very fortunate to have all of you on this commission, because you have very diverse backgrounds, and you've come to where you are from very different careers sometimes and very different paths, and sometimes your paths changed very much. And so each of you has very interesting stories also as to how you got where you are. And, but I think that each of you has become, at some point of your life, each of you just became very passionate about perpetuating Chamorro language and culture, and have dedicated your lives to it. So I thank you for that. And I think that's what I've seen that you all have in common, and I think that's why I'm very hopeful that this is going to be a very successful endeavor. I'm going to just give a very brief background on the Commission for the public so that they understand that this is building on the work of many former commissions and Department of the Department of Chamorro Affairs and many others. So the Chamorro Language Commission was first established in 1964 through a public law as the authority on Chamorro language policy for the island of Guam. And their primary duty was to prescribe the Chamorro language in its written form, as it's an oral language, but to prescribe it in its written form in preparation for long-term perpetuation. They were mandated to do a Chamorro English dictionary and to do an orthography. And in 1983, they were an orthography that was recommended by the Commission at the time was adopted by the Legislature in Public Law 1710. And so this was to standardize all government agency use of Chamorro and hopefully to help perpetuate this for consistency and for everybody's use. And so this orthography, because it was adopted by public law, it is available on the Legislature's website, it's actually available also at the compiler's website under rules and regulations. Okay. The orthography delineated 17 language rules that governed written Chamorro, and they were to be used in the spelling of Chamorro place and street names, Guam place names, as well as agency names. And the Commission at the time continued to assist with translation, advice on the orthography and the dictionary. In 1999, the Commission was integrated into the Department of Chamorro Affairs, and it continued that mandate of orthography, dictionary, and translations, of course, and advice generally on language and culture. And they were successful in publishing a dictionary. And I was supposed to bring a copy, and I apologize. I didn't. I wanted to show it to everybody. My fault. But that dictionary has been published, and it is available in all the libraries in Guam. That's a Chamorro to English dictionary. All right, and that was, all right. And then in the 33rd Guam Legislature, that was one of the last laws passed in the last legislature. It was passed in December, signed into law in January. It was known as the Chamorro Heritage Commission Act of 2016. And this was a very different setup. This commission that was set up was going to be comprised of appointees by different places. So in addition to the president of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, it was also going to have 2 appointees from the governor, 2 appointees from the legislature, 2 appointees from the University of Guam, and 2 appointees from the Department of Education. And so that's what makes this commission very unique. The duties are similar to prior commissions, but I think they've actually been expanded. And so we're going to go over just a few of those. You actually have many, many duties, and we can't probably cover all of them today. So there's just a few that I'd like to start with today and allow you to come in throughout the year to make additional updates. All right, so if we could put the slide up of the duties. So I just want the public to be aware of what your duties are by law. So the orthography is one, and you're supposed to, or the law says that this commission will advise the community and coordinate school use of this orthography, and all government agencies, of course, right? Actually, it says all public and private institutions, everyone. You're supposed to help them use this orthography. And my understanding is that DOE has incorporated this orthography already, and so has the University of Guam. One of the mandates is to communicate with CNMI and see if we can come to an agreement on what words we have in common and what regional differences there might be. And that's just for the knowledge of all the community. And then there's the dictionary, and this is one we're going to get an update on today. It's, yes, just what is the progress of the dictionary. Next slide, please. All right, and then it says standardized curricula of history, language, and culture. You're supposed to provide research and publish language, history, and culture materials, give advice for the accurate representations and interpretations of Chamorro history and culture and language, and help the Bureau of Statistics and Plans to do a survey of the existing number of Chamorro speakers. And this is very helpful as to where we will dedicate our efforts. And to serve as the Guam Place Name Commission. All right. And there are other duties, but those are the main ones, and some of them there are some additional duties. All right, so I want to thank the commission members with us here today, and if they could put their names up there on the screen for everyone to just glance at very quickly. And this, all right, and then I'm going to, this shows who appointed them. And so we have the Hilu of the Commission, former Senator Hope Alvarez Cristobal, the Bisa Hilu, Jimmy Santisteria. He's appointed by DOE, and the Secretaria, Dr. Rosa Salas Palomo. And we have the DCA President, Mr. Johnny Sablan, Dr. Robert Underwood from the University of Guam, Dr. Laura Sauder, appointed by the Governor, Dr. Rufina Mendiola. She's appointed by the Department of Education. She's actually the head of the Chamorro Studies at the Department of Education. Teresita Flores from the University of Guam, and Peter Onodera, also appointed by the legislature. I apologize for missing the doctors in front of the names. Apologize for that. Okay. All All right. So I'm going to now I've compiled your resumes. I was going to try to do a very justice to all of you because I was so proud of all of you. But in the interest of time, I've made copies of all the resumes, provided copies of all of those to my colleagues. I'm going to incorporate those into the committee report for this hearing. And I'm not going to get into the details right now. Creation and your organizational structure. And if you want to start with those, I know that the Commission was appropriated $230,000 by the Legislature for FY 2018. So pretty much we just wanted to hear the status of this allocation, what you're able to do with this limited amount, and if you've received your entire budget, and how's that going?
Yeah. I would ask our Visa Gehelu to respond to our budget because he's kind of coordinating all of that for us.
I'm sorry, maybe, can I just let you all introduce yourselves also so that the camera will focus on you with your name, and that might help. So let's just do that first, sorry. Senator Hope, if you could.
C. Hope Alvarez Cristobal Gehelu for the Commission.
Mr. Guahu, si Jimmy Santos Teria, Guahu, Visa Gehelo.
Senor John Sablan, DCA President, Gehelo.
Si Peter Onaderazo, representante ni Legislatura.
Afre Guaho si Senor Rufina Mendiola, Departamento de Educación Guahan, Administradora.
Si Rosa Salas Palomo, inapunta ni Goberno.
Boss Robert Underwood, apunta mais no, da representa a universidade.
Okay, now please proceed if, at your, however
Buenas tardes, saludo, Legislatura, Senor Speaker, Senor Vice Speaker, Senator Alguins, and Senor Torres, Sejos Masi. The status of our budget as we speak is we were able to familiarize ourselves with the budget process and getting approvals from the BBMR. And so we've been working closely with the governor's staff at BBMR to get the ball rolling on the disbursement. So we've submitted all the documentation. BBMR has signed off already on our allotments. And so it is now over at the Department of Administration to execute the accounts. As far as any specific details on the budget, if you have any questions, I'll be free to answer those questions at this time.
Have you received your entire appropriation?
According to the BBMR, there is a 15% hold on all the line agencies or any agencies for that matter. So we have set aside the 15% as well. According to, with the exception to supplies and equipment, everything else will be allotted on a monthly basis. Because
just very briefly, I know you had to redo your budget submission after getting that amount, and so what have you decided to prioritize with the $230,000?
So we
less 15%.
We prioritized our contractuals, and basically it's about 80% of the budget. Of course, we've also prioritized the supplies and materials that will be needed to conduct business, and most especially the equipment, so that we can purchase computers and tables so that we can establish our office and continue operations. We have been blessed with the labor of other departments to assist in the Commission's efforts, and so we want to thank the Department of Education for allowing them to assist with the Commission and the University of Guam, as well as the Department of Chamorro Affairs. they've been supporting us through the way, and most especially to the DCA because they've been allowing us to utilize the museum for our monthly meetings. So we really appreciate that. So at the current point, we are just awaiting the dispersal of the accounts. And as soon as those are established, then we can begin to draw down the funds.
Do you intend to hire staff?
Okay. The majority, like I said, it goes to the contractual services, and we're gonna, our plan is to execute contracts for our employees so that we can move expeditiously with the hiring and ensuring that we have the staff needed to fulfill our duties.
All right, thank you. I know there's been a lot of runaround getting those accounts set up at DOA and everything without a real office space to operate out of. So I thank you for all your efforts in that regard, and I'm glad to hear that it's moving forward now. And as to the organizational structure, the law requires you to set up rules of conduct, so I'm allowing you to report on that if you wish. Yes, please. Oh, wait, I'm going to ask the senators if they have any questions regarding the budget allocation.
Madam Chair. Jimmy, guaba faisina puri estima puna fiscal year is second. Ko un recibi todos salapimizu numa appropriate. The question is, just for the listening audience, is in the last fiscal year 17, that has concluded, of the appropriated amounts provided by the legislative body, did the Comisión Infinito Zamora receive its full allocation?
I'll yield to the Gehilo.
Por favor.
Senyor Agun, Senator Agun, mas dongkulu ginagaw mami lo mautot pagpagi 2017 manggagaw zugi originally your original request to get a supplemental budget for 2017 because we started operating since May 8. That was our very first board meeting. We have had 8 other board meetings subsequent to that, but and I was thinking that you know, we have been doing a lot of work, so that basically was left unanswered in my request, and so we were happy to see that for FY 2018 we were appropriated $230,000 out of our original request.
And how much was actually appropriated in fiscal year 17?
Taza, senor. We were not given anything. We were operating out of thin air.
Okay.
Yes, the commission only was enacted in January.
Yes.
And so they became active after all the appointments in May. And so they had missed the budget cycle. And so, yes, but they were very diligent in pursuing that.
But we did request.
Yes,
we didn't,
they were.
We just wanted you to know that we didn't fail to.
Correct. They were very diligent in requesting for
a supplemental.
To be included in the 2017 and in 2018. All right. Organizational structure, rules of conduct. Would you like to comment on that?
The rules of conduct.
I understand that you have a strategic plan that you have been working many, many hours on, and that that is almost finalized. And I want to commend you for that.
Dispensa Vice Speaker. One of the first things that we did is adopt the Code of Conduct and Ethics as part and partial to our strategic plan. And so just to highlight some of the important parts of our Code of Conduct and Ethics is that we subscribe to basically 7 principles, and one of the inagwaidza or inafamolik, respeto, dinanya, mamohlaw, inajuda, and gineftao are the 7 golden values that we have committed ourselves to live to. We also have a commitment to our ethical conduct, and we felt that because of the trends in society today that we needed to pay particular attention to our standards of conduct. And so we have it included in the package that we've provided this morning. And so this is one of our very first resolution for our commission. As you know, it is essential, an essential part of our existence. So if you have any questions about our scope, the principles, and other aspects of our code of conduct, we'd be happy to answer your questions.
What about the organizational structure?
All right, we have provided you a copy of our organizational structure that indicates where our authority comes from, which is basically from all the appointing agencies as mandated. And the blue tab. Okay, our binder's quite thick. So if you, I know Ms. Flores from your staff had wondered if we wanted to project this up there on the wall, but the Chamorro Heritage Commission Act of 2016 mandates appointments, as you have mentioned earlier. And so we have the Governor of Guam appointing 2 individuals, Rosa Salas Palomo and Dr. Laura T. Sauder. The Guam Legislature appointing myself and Peter Onidera. The University of Guam appointed Robert Underwood and Teresita Flores. The Guam Department of Education appointed Rufina Mendiola and Jimmy Terria here, who's our vice chair. The Department of Chamorro Affairs mandates the president of DCA, Johnny Sablan, as part of our commission. Our executive committee comprises of the Ge'ehilo, the Segundo Ge'ehilo, and the Secretariat, which is Jimmy, our vice chair, Rosa Palomo, our secretary, and myself as the Ge'ehilo. We have 2 staff planned for the commission, and we have provided the position descriptions for those 2 staff, one a program planner and another administrative secretary. Then we have a relationship with all GovGuam departments that we've established and all agency liaison representatives of those various departments and agencies. And we really should include the community here because that is a major component of our existence, is the input and the contributions that our community can make to the commission, which we very much look forward to. And we were pleasantly surprised at, during the strategic planning sessions, we were joined by the public, which was quite inspiring, to say the least, because we had people coming into the meetings, and so we publicized even working sessions as a way to invite the public to come and make contribution. So that would take care of our small, tiny organizational chart.
Any of the other members like to add anything to any of those topics regarding the budget, the plans for 2018, or the rules of conduct or organizational structure? Dr. Underwood?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, may I say welcome to Teresita Flores, Sidusmasi. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Good morning to all of you. And, you know, at one time I think I was chair of the Comisión Fino Zamora for 11 years. And so this particular legislation is more comprehensive and requires a lot more. And so, you know, the challenges to this, the configuration of this commission are pretty enormous. And I have to say that the way that the people were selected and the breadth of experience and knowledge that the people bring to the table is very impressive. I think the public and I think the legislature will be pleasantly surprised. We have people who are, you know, I'm really amazed, you know, of course, were competent, but more than that, I think you have people who have varied experience. You have, I think Laura Souder has kept us on track for a long time in terms of planning. So, the planning document, the nature of the fact that we've outlined tasks and they're done systematically and that there's assigned tasks there to various members doesn't mean that everything's going to happen at once, but it does mean that something will be happening all the time. And so I just wanted to kind of convey to the legislature and to the general public that I think we have great potential in that regard. It doesn't mean that it will be without challenges, because there's, the balance here is trying to figure out what powers and authority and regulatory functions do you have, and then what resource functions you have. It's like the distinction between a coastal management program and EPA. EPA regulates coastal management as a resource agency. They try to present information and hope you do the right thing. In this sense, we're kind of, in many of our activities, we're trying to deal with that issue, and so we're mindful of that. And I just wanted to convey that, because I think that the ethical behavior, the notion of understanding the charge and the importance of this effort, because if this commission does not succeed, we're in really serious trouble in terms of the future of the Chamorro language. So, even as talented as this group is, it cannot conceptualize every innovative idea and possibility out there. So, there are other dimensions. There's social media. There's, in a class I teach at the university, there was just a presentation by one of the students about various social media outlets that are out there that are using various avenues to teach Chamorro language. Some of them are, kind of innovative and novel, and some of them are going in a direction that's surprising and a direction I wouldn't go towards. But, in any event, it's like trying to find that avenue. I think the strategic plan in that regard is very strong. I think the attention to the code of ethics, we have to remind ourselves constantly that, WhatsApp is just for information. It's not for deliberation. This is a danger that everyone has here. WhatsApp, especially if you're a government agency, a board, we're not WhatsApping and deliberating. We're WhatsApping and kind of informing each other, and all those kinds of things, which I think if anyone who's spent some time with us would be, I think, pleasantly surprised. But being a well-organized board and a board that has a plan is not the same as saving the Chamorro language. That's a daunting challenge. That's a whole different constellation of ideas. And I don't want people to have the notion that, put rason na malati hamparintingwa fainsetsigwi pat kabalis planon mami na estain satbay finot Chamorro, because that's a long ways away. That's just a whole different series of issues and circumstances. So I just wanted to convey that, but I wanted to also convey how, for myself, how impressive this document is. And I think that people will be happy that we're taking it very seriously. And we hope we get funded appropriately and all the other things. And, we'll just deal with that as it comes along. But it is a very daunting challenge. And it calls for a lot of complicated relationships. And I think it's going to tax our abilities to be collaborative and cooperative, and to be regulatory and more directive when it needs to be, and more collaborative when it needs to be. And that's a kind of a balance that and it depends a lot on your support, depends a lot on the support of the governor's office and the general public. So I think this is a very impressive document. I'm very proud to be associated with it, and I think they elected the right people to run the organization. Thank you.
And
Dr.
Ms.
Underwood just
Mandela?
forgot one
Wait.
minor point, and that is that the mandate gives the Commission the status of being the official voice for the people of Guam in matters relating to the survival and the perpetuation of our language, our history, and our culture, and that in itself is daunting. And so we're going to have to set up processes in order to be able to accomplish that, and that's still before us, and we hope to do that by 2018.
Thank you. Mrs. Mandela?
Sizus masi bisa cuentusadora, nuevos avenimentalum gi diccionario, Terlaje. Esti babe sangania nezi I ginago ni parece na comisión gi tres no departamento. Anong na mesha taza salapi esta guaha azudo, uno gi ni departamento ni educación, y otro gi Universidad Guaha, ni Chamorro Affairs. In nana I hofa ni na sinan mami ni para ben continuha I setso diario ni hofa esta MPCC gi mo na pues mega na azudo gi ni tres na departamento ni ginago ni gaigi na gi plano. Za magahe na este na plano, giha isi para todos se sa anong na educación I fino desde I maneni hasta ulog Universidad Guahan za ginin este na otso latina na fitmin plano no za necesita magari azudun mizo legislatura esta hulog executivos ani comunidad mas I comunidad para tana mas fitmi pes donklo na sizus mas por este na oportunidad pago na haani.
I'm going to allow you now to talk about the orthography and the dictionary. We'll cover those areas particularly today, if you could.
Well, we found ourselves discovering all kinds of new words to begin with, and so we have formed a lexicon committee to address, for example, adding new words. And we found out that other jurisdictions, the Hawaiian people, for example, and the Alutiiq people in Alaska, have put together a kind of a system of, analyzing how we would create these new words, especially with our information technology today. And so there are samples of it out, especially in our region, those of us, the indigenous peoples that are dealing with these, language challenges. One of the first things that we have in our strategic plan for 2018 is to come up with a children's dictionary in Chamorro, and we're so looking forward to doing that. There are many authors today through the University of Guam who are writing in Chamorro and using the expertise of our professors who are there, and Rufina Mendiola, Jimmy Teria at GCC. Peter's teaching on Therese has a whole Chamorro class, and so and Rosa. These folks have been the resources, and also Professor Terry Flores here. These have been the resources for expanding our knowledge base for Chamorro language, but also ways of, I guess, coming to this point of creating this children's dictionary that we're so looking forward to. The books that are being written in Chamorro need to have some guidance as to the definitions. I know many of them are providing glossaries, at the back of these new books that are just, there's so many authors now. There's a proliferation of Chamorro books through the University of Guam and others who have taken it upon themselves to produce these books. And so we're looking forward to working with these folks that are producing the books, as well as the universities, and it's through the Micronesia Area Research Center that the books are coming out from through the work of the editor there, Victoria Leon Guerrero. And so we're very pleased with that development, and we think we can expand by that knowledge base by providing a children's dictionary in 2018. Anyone else? And
So-
the orthography?
Yes, but on the dictionary, so since we start with the dictionary, let's just talk about that for 1 minute. What are the existing resources available, dictionary-wise?
At Mark,
And how can the public access these?
it's very accessible. In fact, at Mark, we have identified 13 documents there, of which I have a copy of all of them except for 2. And Mark will be copying those for us so that we can have those readily accessible at wherever we are housed at. So all members and even the community, the liaisons, will have access to them. Some of them are not in the best of all print, but we have to do with what we have. I've gone into Amazon, and there are some reprints. And so, I'm now at the point where I'm just trying to get a copy of at least one so that we would have those, because the printing is much better. So those, and excuse me, I'm just trying to get through this code here. So we have those resources. One of the recent things, and it is in our strategic plan, is, as some of you may be aware of, we have the learningtomorrow.com website out there, of which I am one of the 3 people who are putting that together. And we have recently entered into a memorandum of understanding with the University of Guam, and the University of Guam being a part of the Commission. We are going to try and work it out so that we input all of the words that are in each of these 13 documents. Students from previous classes have inputted the words from almost all the words, maybe 95% of the words, because I haven't gone in to check every single word. But from the official Chamorro English Dictionary that came out of the Department of Chamorro Affairs, and Topping's Dictionary that came out in the 70s. So we have those, and now what we also want to do is support students, so even a stipend, and that's one of the things that we will be discussing as a group, is if we could get additional support so that we could offer students a stipend, because we try to utilize the university students, undergraduate or graduate, who are able to do the entry. It's really not that difficult, but it's tedious work. And I know for me, I've sat and I've done it for 3-4 hours, and after that, I don't want to sit down for another 2 or 3 days. It's very tedious work. With the MOU in place now with the University of Guam, the telecommunications department, or TADEO, I think as it is known, is Robert? TADEO, Manny Hechanova is offering all his skills and whatever available facilities he has so that he can help us to put this up, and hopefully one day we'll be able to work with PBS Guam. Did I say that right? So that we can put something up on KADU. But there's some kinks that need to be worked out here so that we could have something on the air 24/7.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got at least 8 dictionaries that you're going to use as resources.
13.
Oh, 13. Sorry, 13. Some of them are rare and
Very rare, yes.
Okay, and but 2 of these are readily available. And Mr. Sablan, is that the blue hard copy of the Chamorro English Dictionary? Is that readily available, or is that out of stock?
Ungan, and it's readily available basically in all stores, primarily the Guam Museum. we're also have it available there with other Department of Chamorro Affairs books that we have put out under research and publications through the years. Okay.
Great, and so that's very exciting, and very exciting to hear that much of that and much of the topping book have been put online now and available under learningchamorro.com, and that the Commission is going to work to update these and with on their own and allow the public access to this process. So very exciting.
If I may also add, I know every now and then we get, what is the word for this word or whatever, things of that nature, or people would have heard a certain word and have no idea what it means, and it's not in any of the dictionaries, or at least the two that have already been inputted into the website. So the website really makes it a lot easier and a lot faster to put these words into the dictionary listing. And we try to do that, but we do need resources for that.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Flores, did you want to say something? This is by the way, for the public, this is a copy of the one that was printed by the Department of Chamorro Affairs. It says the official Chamorro English Dictionary. It's a hardbound book available at the museum.
Guam Museum.
Guam Museum. Mrs.
Yes,
Flores?
I will go ahead and add also that because of the new words that are coming about, most especially words that has to do with technology, and that's one of the things that we talked about with the Commission, is that we need to find out if we can really use some of these words and come up with a Chamorro word that we can then add on to the dictionary, which is the most, whatever we can come up with. But I really think, we all think it's very important to have these new words in there. And like I said, most especially with the technology nowadays, so many things that we can do with the dictionaries. And Senora Rosa Palomo mentioned there's how many? 13 por todo, right? 13, Senora. But I was just informed not too long ago that there could be 2 more others. And we're talking about dictionaries that dated way, way, way back. And so we have a lot of resources out there. And again, I would like to add just about the new words that has to do with technology. We have to ensure our Chamorro people and also others who are interested that, yes, we do have words for these new words that are coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may add just one more thing on the dictionaries. Gehelo Hope had mentioned about, a children's dictionary. That really is that would be an extremely exciting project. But what it would deal with is that we need to try and access what kind of vocabulary certain age group of our children have. Now that's going to be very difficult here because we don't have a lot of first language speakers of Chamorro. The bottom line here is that we would have to do research in order for us to be able to access maybe at least 100 words that children of a certain age, let's say birth to 5, would need in order to be able to function in the Chamorro language in their daily lives, maybe a little bit more. So I know that in our strategic plan, that's one of the things that we want to do is conduct research that would move us towards the publication of materials, and one of those would be the Children's Dictionary. Thank you.
I just want to add, Vice Speaker Terlaje, that we earlier spoke about our slender budget, and we have been able to do most all of this with $0. And so, again, that points to the fact that all of us on this commission are here because we are very passionate about this work, and we are committed to fulfilling the mandate, although we do recognize its universal extent. We are also looking at funding resources, And because of the slender budget, we are looking at local funding sources. We are going to be looking at national funding sources to possibly fund some of these projects. And so Jimmy here is the man who is in charge of doing all of this Googling and downloading all of this information. And it was news to me to find out that there are rules that are established, as Terry said, to take care of how to create these new words. And regarding the WhatsApp, we learn new words through that. Somebody would pop up, have you heard this word? And so we juggle around and we teach each other through WhatsApp. So yeah, we don't conduct sessions and have public meetings on WhatsApp, but we do educate each other because we are all at different levels of our own knowledge base of Chamorro language, culture, and history. I just want to ask Peter to elaborate a little bit about the dictionary and his contributions.
Well, Senor Onodera.
Yeah, I'm brimming over with a lot of thoughts at this point, but just this morning, just to shed light a little bit, this morning we were having a merry banter on word usage, and so among ourselves we were just throwing back and forth words that we say differently as opposed to those coming from Saipan. But just to also, because it's also in our mandate here that we need to connect with CNMI and so forth, we've already begun that opportunity where we have already met with representatives from the people working with the dictionary in the CNMI. And they've also given us a list of over 100 words that we're also looking at and so forth. And not a moment passes when someone among us on the membership writes and says, "What is babysitter in Chamorro?" You know, and even though recently we discussed the word liquido. So that came across to a number of us who are aware of that word, but we didn't know what's the appropriate way of addressing it. We're talking about children's dictionary, that's good, but we also need some, perhaps a thesaurus in the future would also work. So we are forever brimming over with ideas and so forth. And just to shed light a little bit on this funding sources that we've been talking about, I know we're looking at federal funds and we're looking, but on our own local turf, I suggested that we tap into GVB with their promotional efforts because I've participated in JADA 3 times in Tokyo. And those 3 years that I participated was the only time I was allowed and I was permitted to present Chamorro language to Japanese passersby that came to our booth. And it hasn't happened before then and since then. And I think that that's very timely because every year we send the Chamorro Dance Academy over there, but still the language is not really gelling insofar as promotional efforts from GVB, but the funding that the formerly Chaco Committee used to provide for many of the Chamorro programs here, we need to really tap into them for this language effort that we're all working on. I'm wondering about Gida's, they used to have a Chamorro something funding program. I've yet to hear whether that's still going on or whether that is now phased out or something like that. But we really need to have much concerted effort. And we've got a number of nonprofit organizations on the island too that are just clamoring forth to be asked to help out with community efforts or commission efforts in Chamorro language and so forth. So we are pretty much limitless insofar as these resources are concerned, and it just needs for us, someone among us, to explore it further and tap into it and so forth. And so, like I said, I'm brimming over with ideas and suggestions and so forth, and I cannot help but just think positive of our work here, and I think that that's very important, that we move forward and so forth. And I know we've been daunted with challenges, and we are expecting to be challenged and countered and things of that nature, but we're ready. We're ready to face the community and say, look, we are here for you. Help us out, we'll help you, we'll help each other out. Si Diyos mase.
Zeus Masi Hagomas.
All right, so what about the orthography then? Is this going to be a similar process? We have the 1983 orthography. It's been adopted by law. It's incorporated in DOE, UOG curriculum. It's supposed to be incorporated by government agencies. Do you have any plans to expand this orthography?
Yes. One of the first things that we were, during one of our meetings, was to re-adopt the existing orthography with very minor changes. And basically the main changes are with the spelling of Chamorro, and that the letters CH and NG are considered one letter and therefore will be capitalized as such. And so those are the two small changes, and we have it ready. We've basically just retyped it and it's available. And we've provided a copy within the documentation, and we have more copies here to share with you as well.
Great. And maybe we can try to arrange something to, pending your own website. I know you will be getting your own website to post this on other agency websites, perhaps the legislature and other ones. We'll help you with that. I'm sure Department of Chamorro Affairs can also put that on their website. Okay. And so will you have a public participation process in updating your orthography if you see the need to update it in the future?
One of the plans that we have is getting the directors of the departments and agencies to appoint a representative to the commission, so that we want, first of all, we'd like to know and understand from them what are their needs, rather than just sitting them down the first time around and saying, okay, this is the orthography. We want to find out from them what ways can the commission help them so that they can put out more advertisements or announcements or information in the Chamorro language, and start from there. And then once we know what their needs are, then we will fashion the workshops that have to deal with orthographic issues based on their needs. It's very difficult to have all 17 rules learned in one day. So the discussion that we've had is to have at least 3 or 4 workshops, 4 hours a day, over a period of time, so that we don't overwhelm them too. At the same time, get them to exercise, to engage in exercises. And during the time frame, if they have things that they need assistance in, what we want to impart to them is that as representatives of the different agencies and departments, we assume that they are Chamorro speakers. We're not concerned, the commission is not concerned whether they can spell words correctly at this point. The most important criteria is that first, they have a basic interest in doing this kind of work, and 2, that they speak Chamorro. And whatever it is that they are tasked to put in the Chamorro language, we expect them to translate it, write it out, and then bring it to the commission so that we then will look at it. That would make it a learning process for them. They're trying their best. And at the same time, I find that because many Chamorro speakers who are proficient, because they're not able to write, or they think they cannot write in Chamorro, then they will not admit that they are proficient Chamorro speakers. For some reason, if they can't write, no matter how well they speak Chamorro, they're not well enough. And we need to demystify that. The other thing that we want to do with there was a second thing that they wanted to do is that they themselves, if they can find other people, this is something that I think would work out well, especially younger people, because I know that we're going to get maybe those in their 40s and 50s, right, because they speak Chamorro. But if they go back to their agencies and can engage younger people, because they can have assistants, they can have people who they themselves can train to be able to write and speak Chamorro.
If I may, I'd like to echo Senora Palomo's comments and so forth, because I was a product of that language liaison representative coming from a government agency. I was the chosen representative for the agency I used to work at the time and so forth. And I attended a Chamorro Language Commission meeting that would train these representatives in the process of translating and so forth. But of course, it was very elementary for me at the time, but very monumental, if anything, and it worked. And so the commission did that for a number of years and so forth, and it really took away a lot of the burden of work that was given to the commission, because many times, even to this very day, DCA and even UOG and DOE are inundated with requests for translations. Sometimes it's just a slogan, sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's a pamphlet, sometimes it's a booklet. And it's timely that we revive this again, and it works. And this is one of the visions that we'd like to tackle firsthand, or first thing in the new year and so forth. But being the representative at GIDA at the time, I was practically the only one who was able to speak Chamorro. I didn't write it worth anything, but I learned and so forth, and this is where I am at today and so forth. And yes, young people can still be taught and trained and to do all this other stuff, because many of us are continuing to do translation work, and it's really taking a lot of our time when it comes to policy making and decisions that need to be made in the commission. So I echo the sentiments that Senora Palomo was saying, because she was the commission chair at the time, and it was her, she was the brainchild of this language liaison representative that I was privy to, and we were gung-ho that we want to do it again.
Dispensa za ahiti para get benamento ha na Paraguay liaison maulika loki gi business ne na pati sa uno gua benau exemplo ano malumo gini gi un lugar kana estão muzungazo sa magahi zangenti matungo ne por taimano matugen e palavra tiene la leca e substância. Pes mamai sinzu le kukona antauto eno per hofa le nyoi le nyodoglu la sizus maasi lo bisa cuento sadora besangoni hao na puresti na forman imadoptang imit na Vicente Sochanta Therese ani ini ilo ni para bien na mas mo na quanto sia na palavra ben segui loki Departamento de Educação e para ben fanai professional development per mestre mami sa ahi tipo cuento sa bula manwe cuento sa dinansi si Saina Rosa Palomo e quattro na domain e linguagem e o mekungo e comentos e manaites an monge za sinya hafan sanga lo zanginun tugi e zon tutugi hafan nohongo lo zanginun tatizi ortografia ni agogo gwini ni gua reglamentonia tiene laika e tinigi pues eso na gofe importante za go magovzo na gagi esti pago gila massa za ta diskuti cosa ki hazi gwi ho uzung malago sia na business man mangi gi finut Chamorro estige sia debita na seguro na dinansi situs masi.
I would like to add to that, Vice Speaker, just on a more expansive level. You know, we are very familiar with the adage, language is the umbilical cord to culture. And so in learning and expanding our knowledge base of language, it deepens our understanding of our own people and our culture. And so as part of our strategic planning document, we also recognize that we need to be advocates for the preservation of, say, for example, our sacred places and our cultural sites. And we are looking at existing policies, laws, and procedures that impact these resources and make recommendations to authorities about how to do the best way to preserve, to restore, and to maintain these historic sites and cultural sites, our traditional place names as well. So we have an immense agenda, and we intend to move forward beginning, in another month's time. We are a 7-month organization at this point in time, and we have been able to put together our strategic plan for 4 years up to 2020. And although our appointments are for 3 years, we intend to be around and continue. And as Senora Rosa Paloma stated, mentor the younger set. And so through our research, we will be more knowledgeable about where the most work needs to be in terms of improving our capacity, our knowledge base, and enhancing our cultural resources, especially today, these days.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. And if we could just put up the last slide regarding support services before I open this up to my colleagues for questions or comments. I just want to point out for the public that, so the commission was originally set up and without a staff and like it's a commission. It's not necessarily an agency, but we're hoping that they will be able to function like one when necessary. But the support services, according to the law, is that the commission is hereby authorized to use, and the Department of Education, University of Guam, and Department of Chamorro Affairs are hereby directed to make available their facilities. The Department of Education, University of Guam, and Department of Chamorro Affairs shall also make available personnel and logistical assistance as the Commission may require in carrying out its functions. So this is the original intent of the law, and I know that you've been trying to do this, and you've shared with me your concerns about this is very vague, and so I very much appreciate that. And so it's not falling on deaf ears, and we were going to do our best. So I'm going to open it up to Speaker Cruz or Senator Uggan.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just one general question. There are other organizations or programs that are funded publicly, and they advocate and they try to promote the use of the Chamorro language. Is there any intertwining of these programs with your ongoing effort so that in fact there's a consistency in terms of the Chamorro language and making sure that the proper spelling is utilized, the proper enunciation and whatnot? So has that been looked into?
Other agencies?
No, other programs. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at the budget, there are a number of...
We have already interfaced with Corral Academy, for example. They have sought our assistance in putting together their, information about their curriculum that they're looking at to expand their services. We are fully aware that there, in terms of agencies, that, say, for example, Department of Chamorro Affairs, who has been very generous in their allowing us to use the Guam Museum to do all our board meetings there. We're aware that in one of our askings in our strategic plan is to have an archives, a Chamorro archives, and Vice Speaker has instructed us that there are agencies outside of our commission that maintain archival material. Guam Public Library, for example, MARC, many of the agencies. And I'm thinking that we could be that connective tissue to maybe bring together all of these resources and provide this real archives that where we have an archivist maintaining these resources for us. So in looking at other organizations, we also expect to expand our language program to nonprofit organizations, commercial entities out there. And so those are some of the things that we have become a part of our plan in order to expand our reaches so that everyone hopefully would be using our, especially our cultural organizations and other educational institutions and the businesses out there. We're already receiving all kinds of requests, as Senora Nedera has stated, and we are going to have to make that list of you know, people that are official translators. We already know there are quite a few out there. And so as these requests come in, we will, you know, check them off and go to the next person. There is a need, obviously, for the work that the Commission is going to be doing. And we hope that, and we look forward to your support and forward to working on behalf of our people and our language. Especially, you know, our ancestors has given us this gift which should be honored and should be respected. And that our Fino really is, our language really has been an indicator of an evidence of our unification as a people, that we are one people and that we have a lot of strength to offer. And so there's still a lot of people out there that are very interested in the work that the Commission has done. We welcome everybody's input, you know, at all our public meetings. We will try to reach out through, for example, our website. We're looking tentatively at having one of the DCA, for example, or UOG, DOE, and looking at their web folks and try to get our website going with little resources financially. So we've been able to accomplish a lot with the little money we have.
Senator, I appreciate your response in regards to government agencies and the programs that the government agencies administer. What I was also alluding to is there are, and you mentioned one of them, Hurrah Academy, that's provided occasionally some funding support from the legislature. Just having completed the budget in August, there are a number of other programs that are also financed which promote and advocate the use of the Chamorro language. So really my question was, with regards to that, is there a recognition that this is now the authorized entity for the Chamorro language and really you should be a resource and they should reach out to you? So in this case, Madam Chair, I would recommend certainly that at the next budget cycle that any allocation for funding for organizations that promote and advocate the active use of the Chamorro language, that we allow for at least a process so that this particular commission is given some level of participation in terms of making sure that there's the proper use of the Chamorro language, the orthography, the enunciation, and so forth. So that I think is something that is a work in progress, and we certainly need to do that as we provide public funds or tourism attraction funds for programs that use the Chamorro language and advocate for it. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator. We know that there are at least 31 Chamorro organizations out there, and we recognize that part of our deliverables for 2018 is to develop a system of collaboration with these organizations. So we look forward to that work. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Senator Torres?
Manana si Zeus Torus Hamzu, Zan Feliz Pasqua. Usena Gradesi Tetsu Mizu, si Zeus Maasi. Oh, Malakus na may Faisen Hamzu no put ST itun Mizu Tigi implementation strategy para 2017. Za utatatay na Guaha Gwini no authenticity procedures. Za utungo na fiwa no unsanga na bof importante lenguaje and necesita ta afadanya ta spiahafa imas claros and preciso na palabra lo o hahasu lo na gwinigi tanotas and put half a bit in mama mi gi puts and half a bit in mama mi para I turista I baila no mas no It's no mas pipia mas I baila za ma fanadekla lo hafa bidan mimidzu puri baila sa guahan tiempo na mano zu zabe I baila so you know O gaza kalan tu comprendi no ginin mami. Ginin mami edzuza ko magahit na tamoro I chanting zan I baila zan I magago zan I Loris zan ko hafa na mapupulo I kapulunia lo hafa bidan mimizu na eno ko magahit no spipia ko edzu tamoro pat ginin logo na otro na banda.
Se Jesus Marci neno na questione sa con todo igual qui ha na fana suzo neno selecta no pio na ne humahana uzo praijata za ulili ne grupo ta mambaila gino uzo za paraguao ne ipo ti zota ipo lo necessity ipo za ngingwaha man madi memoria pues gaha ito na dona na kula no hula no sinenteku ulili Pas guahan na biyain na munisyon ni mausa modern magago para representasyon o questiona lo que ezo entre guawa ne lo que za uza pues guaha ko hami entre commission e membro ni commission no indibidi ham tres na tauto para cada parte gi tsumami za guaho gumehilului cultura za cultura magain anakku zan feda esta especialista todo papa enosia za baila lo que no takilo bueno za magain no wingagago no consultación ginin entusia y mangehilo estisia na inet no ne lo que za o impacti za hami rasoniha za sinya be kalanesta stino haga sanuzulo haswa un tempo si Jimmy di ginin ma questiona hafa zamoro gi zona no grupunia zanuzalenga mentras ma di memoria ge za Guam za famalaun zamoro zan manuteron zamoro no man ma di memoria pus zamoro azo ni nunca na Shero Mawana Marie canta nuzolo ma sosogi Guam pus zamoro ezgi ini penya un tempo za hungu ka ginin as Jimmy ezo za sinya benti lahti zo ruzolo magahe ti mafatut sin mami chabia ni parabay in fana eno na asunto lo bisangano ti hagoha no momenta eno pago jangin mamalofan siya na tempo lo jan mami lo kina bay in studia eno mas na cosa ki in man maidukahan di nuevo lo kwe sinya no jano ben an mati tempo sempre ben fatatsumi talo za in discute no talo lo maulik question mo za si Jesus Marci ne no
si Jesus Marci senadora Therese gof importante I palavra authentic gini gi plano sa hungan magahe debe di desempeño hafa mismo izota no pues i papa Peter ne ni zonya no grupo sia sempre guaha sempre no tiniginiha ni pamanaan no keno na klase na reglamento za po lo guaha lo gi comunidad sia gi grupo nia zunya subcommittee pues gof importante na talili mas hafa mismo izota no pues wagadesi na gagi gihina somo no za ona ano pago na gagi gi corazonta I taimano patana fatta culturata za gagi tori tempo I linguaje I finota si Jesus Marci
za gof malago tu na be sauna na be ajudamzo so nisita be tugi telefon mo talo sa fanam malefa zosta ni telefon mo za be gof malago tu na be ajudamzo sa maulike de tso mo sa fiwe famagon hui zoko grand ma faisin zo na hafa na ti malago fanedzak zo malago ham ta fanedzak I finut samoro zeni baila zen lo guahan no kalan maput no lo nisita ta sagwe nisita ta tutuhun no na klaseng programa gi familata za magadzo esta no tapmami I nuevo año za be ispia hamzu Adiahi, Jesus Marci.
Dispensa sinya bay kwento sa dididik pot eno na asunto.
Por favor.
So masano gini na komitea gi kultura. Sa hunggan bulat so para maso gi magahit. Sa dinansi ho. Hapa di pursi perfectum izotta kumuman sa morwet. Dan hapa nuadzi ta azo ni mangini ni otro banda siya. Paragot mas importante guini, sa tilele ko importante ibayla ni taatan hafa perfecto izo tagof importante na talii. Komagahi na mauusa jo antes gimanay nata na klasin bayla. Komaga na mauusa enaw na magago na dahok siya. Hafa sa man mauusa antes lo kumukontempo ni sige mo na yung mahalong gini na isla kalan man mafanan na gwit lo kwi dididi ko malagwit na tatsuli sa tanadan niya sa nikot turata. Lo paraguat mas importante gini iminago punggan lo ilingwahi lo guihi. Bisa nun ata ni si grupo ni mambabayla. Hapa na palabra siya mauusa gibaylan niya. Hapa na palabra ni sisita min ekungok. Kau una na palabra, pat dosa na palabra, pat 22 na palabra mauusa guihi na klasin bayla. Zazangin dosya na palabra ni sita ko sudera enaw. Nazagin pun fa naagui fa maguni manhobin manfinu sa moro. Tinaw nga ni dosi na palabra, no? Tinaw nga na pun aluka mo na tati agapa akagui hava tay manu para na pandanya aju say palabra. Jaw hujeng sinangan, jaw hujeng paragrafo, jan istorya ni para gay sustansya, jamagat na perfecto para Tana danya gi kulturata ilingwahita mas sa kosa kisinya ufamta za masu mausa ni manhobin giman mamamila na tempo ni sita ta pangwento si kifinuta moro ni si sita ta tungo ta manu manekungok jang giman manai direksyon kifinuta moro kau sinya ta togwi kau sinya ta komprendi hafalik ni na direksyon. Hani sisita loki na tatungo man manaitay gifinuta moro data comprendi ahiti para ta pronuncia i palabra siha sa sinya ya no tatogi lo to kumekelek nga na makomprendi hafa matataytay sa enay pun pronuncia palabra motu sina gifase reno na toto jan necesita o matungo hafa tay mano matugi para from proficiente gimbasya hafa na lingwahe. Pesangin fifinoaw na finuta moro, an fifinoaw na finuta moro, proficiente o gifinuta moro, lo ti kumikilig na proficiente o gilingwahin sa moro, asik yung tungo o mekungo gilingwahin sa moro, un tungo manaitay, yung komprendi, dan un tungo mangi. Inigwi para biosangan, si Diyos maasi.
Diyos maasi, Senyora.
Si Diyos maasi. Senator Lee, welcome, and please, if you have any questions.
Sejus Maasi dan Feliz Paswa Terus Hamdu. We really appreciate you being here and participating in this. And I also definitely want to thank the Vice Speaker, the Chairwoman, for giving us this opportunity to have this discussion. I think it's very, very important. And I think on that vein, I want to know from all of you what we can do to better support you in your efforts. I know that Senator Hope had mentioned limited resources and using other government agencies to assist in trying to get the word out about all the great things that the Commission has already done. But if there are other things, given our limited resources, that we can continue to do to continue to assist you in your efforts, we'd love to hear about those.
Can I be the first to say something? Earlier, Senator Agun brought up the question of those community groups that have sought and have been given funding from the legislature for the Chamorro efforts that they're doing and so forth. That kind of struck me quite interestingly because, yes, I'm well aware of many groups who have come to these harried halls of the legislature seeking funding for anything and everything under the sun that they think is related to Chamorro language and culture and what have you. And I sometimes what I see out there isn't exactly what the funding was meant to give and so forth. And so now that this issue has come up again, I'd like to recommend that in the future, when an organization comes before you asking for money, I would like for each one of you to say to them, have you sought the advisement and concurrence and perhaps oversight or something from the Chamorro Language Commission on History, Language, and Culture, since now that we are in place and so forth. And this would be the impetus for them to come to us and let us know what their plans are, their intentions are, so that we can not that we are a clearinghouse, but we can give some input as to what else is there, because maybe some of us among the 9 members of the commission may see something that says, are you sure that's Chamorro? I mean, this will bring us right back to the question of what Senator Torres has asked earlier about the dance and so forth. And that seems to be the most common thing and the most prevalent thing, because that's what drives the interest of our youngsters. They want to learn dance, they don't want to learn language and so forth. And that's kind of a little bit nervy, if you will, and so forth, because they're more interested in movement rather than expressing the word of the mother tongue, if you will, and so forth. But that would be my recommendation to the legislature, that in the future, when you get these organizations coming forth asking for assistance of public funding of sort, ask them or refer them to us. And this way, we'll be able to do our work.
Just Marcy, I'd like to address the committee. Regarding the clearinghouse guidelines, we're just at a point of review. We know there are authentication guidelines that are under the DCA purview. And so we're just reviewing those procedures. We are not at a point of getting ourselves to be the authenticating agency. We are merely looking at those procedures and trying to adapt to a more clearinghouse process. We are looking at more kind of something similar to a good housekeeping seal, saying that it has basically been reviewed by our commission, and it has this seal that indicates some kind of authority that has reviewed the product. Authenticity is a very complicated process, and we're just looking at what's already out there, and we're going to try and adapt that to our idea of providing a sort of a good housekeeping seal process. Thank you.
If I may add, one of the things that really, I'm trying to think of a nice word, but that bothers me with many of the organizations, particularly those that purport to be instructors of the Chamorro language in some way or another, is the mispronunciation of words, the incorrect grammar that is used, and especially if these are out online or on TV or out in any of the media, it does not help the Chamorro language or any language learning. I mean, if you have a program that mispronounces words or uses wrong a word that should not be used, it is more detrimental. With the dance issue, the chanting, the performers are able to chant. However, every now and then I'll ask a dancer or a chanter, well, what was that all about? What did you just chant? And they'll give me this. Okay? They're never going to learn. They'll say the words, but they'll never learn what it is until they are taught what it is they're chanting. And I think it's horrible that we have children chanting stuff or singing stuff and they don't know what it is that they're singing. It may be inappropriate in an audience in a different setting, right? So those are some of the things. Then there's not a whole lot we can do with those that are privately funded, but for those that receive government funding, is there some kind of stipulation that can be attached to their funding that has to do with going to the commission and checking out, and the commission being like a clearinghouse? We need to put some teeth into this if this is going to happen. I mean, there's no question that we're going to get, that we are going to have people who are just going to ignore the commission and its recommendation. I mean, and that's just the way the world is, right? But if the commission has some teeth in those that at least receive government funding, it's a start. It's a start. So that's one concern that I have, and I wasn't so sure whether I wanted to bring it up, but I think this is the opportune time. Thank
you, Madam Vice Speaker.
Senator Lee, may I just direct you to our strategic planning document? We have listed 15 goals, and if you're looking for an area to concentrate or a favorite part of our strategic plan, you're more than welcome to find funding for us at any point. But we have been very resourceful. And like I said, we are a 7-month organization. And we were just able to establish our account at the DOA last Friday. So we have not been able to use our monies yet, but we fully intend. We know we're going to exhaust our budget of $230,000 because we do have a lot, a lot of work to do. So, Sidusumasi for your inquiry.
Sidusumasi. Okay, I want to thank everyone for being here again, but I want to commend each of you, the members of this commission. I hope that you will continue to inspire all of us and all of the people of Guam. And in believing and in acting on the perpetuation of the Chamorro language and culture, we, the legislature, we're here to help you. So we are going to look for ways we can be of more assistance, and hoping that your collaboration with each other and your collaboration with us, and we, like you all said, we need the collaboration of all the people of Guam, every agency, every organization, and all the people, all the expert Chamorro speakers that we have out there. We need all of their help. And but I want to congratulate on you on your success so far, and I am very proud of what you are working on and what you are doing. And so, Sidusumasi para Finatan Mizu, para Dan Itsetsun Mizu. And this public hearing is now adjourned, and the time is 10:37. Sidusumasi.
Sidusumasi, and Feliz Pascua.